Hey guys, welcome back to Resistance Chicks. We're your hosts, Leah and Michelle. Today is the 23rd of September. It's actually the beginning of Sukkot, the Feast of Tabernacles, the Feast of Booths. I'm sorry we're late. Today we are more late than normal. Very much late. I'm sure you have been checking back.
Standing here for like 6 minutes.
Okay, we have dogs that we are pet sitting. Today has been a crazy day, but
we
are
have
here.
to make sure the dogs are pottied and crazy things happen. But we are here, and while everybody's coming, this is our UK and Euro news segment. We are going to cover the gambit from Katie Hopkins talking about how there are 9 people a day arrested for hate speech.
Oh my God.
Okay, we're going to talk about that and the fact that the constables and whoever, you know, your little police people are can't seem to find a robber.
Hey. See?
Didn't get it. Caught her first.
Did y'all hear that she ate the speaker wire last time? Leah's gonna carry on. I'm gonna make sure all wires around here are lifted above puppy chew level.
Lift me up. This one right here would probably be a good place to start. She doesn't mean to. She's a good dog. We like her a lot. She's just a puppy.
She's a puppy, all right.
Just a puppy. We are going to cover the fact that Donald Trump met with leaders in Poland. And forgive me when... You know, I was really happy with Betashidowo because I worked really hard on how to pronounce her name. And now you got another dude there. And
Duda? No.
Is it? I don't know.
It's not Andres Duda?
Wow, that was
Hang
not
on.
very graceful.
Wow. But
He's
I made it and nothing fell off.
Okay. So we're going to talk about a possible Fort Trump in Poland because Poland desperately wants a U.S. military base to fend off any threat they say from Russia, but I probably believe anywhere in the world. We're going to show you Nigel Farage at the Leave Means Leave rally. Very exciting. So we're going to cover a gamut of stories. But first, because this is a developing story by the minute in the United States, it's very important to our Supreme Court nomination process. I want to bring you updates on the Kavanaugh accuser, Dr. Ford. Okay, so late last night, and I mean late, like I was doing a pet visit, it's like midnight 30. Okay, comes out that this Dr. Ford woman tells her therapist there are 4 boys, and that's all the Washington Post reports in their leaked article. Turns out, she says there was a girl there. Oh, Washington Post didn't leak her name, but leaked all the other 3 or 4 dudes' names. Including Kavanaugh, right?
Was this girl a victim or supposed victim, or was she a supposed perp?
No, she was neither. Christine Ford said it wasn't important because nothing of importance or significant happened to her friend, so her friend probably wouldn't remember being there. I tweeted out, I said, I've been 15 years old, woman. I remember everywhere I have been, and all y'all need to do, my friends would need to do is say, hey, do you remember that one place that we went with so-and-so? I'd be like, duh, okay, I have a memory. Either these people are suffering from extreme amnesia, or she ain't telling the truth. Do you remember where you've been, like, as a teenager?
Yes.
You know where you have been, and if Jen or your friends come and say, hey, you remember that one thing we did? You're like, oh, yeah, I totally remember that one thing that we did. Okay.
I may not remember it right off the bat, but as you talk about the details, they always come back. I've never had somebody say, we did this, it was such and such, and I'm like, no, I don't.
Is giving Ford the benefit of the doubt for forgetting the location because of the trauma. But her friend didn't experience any trauma. And yet she says because nothing significant happened, she wouldn't remember. But Ford wants us to believe that because something significant happened to her that she doesn't remember. She playing cray-cray with our heads. Do you understand how she just that you can't have a double negative? You can't say something significant happened to me, so I don't remember details, and this person nothing significant happened to her, so she won't remember even being there. And that person says, I have never even met this man. Brett Kavanaugh. I have never been at a party with him. I have never been around him. I did not know him in high school. I have never been in the room with him. And guess what? It gets even better. She's one of Dr. Ford's lifelong friends.
No.
Democratic operative. But doesn't want to go to jail, I'm sure, for perjury of one's self. It's absolutely bananas around here, y'all. The three other dudes say they weren't there. Kavanaugh says he wasn't at some whatever random place.
So we really just have one woman's word against 5 other people.
Five other people, including a woman who we're supposed to believe all women now, right?
Who was her friend.
I got to tell you. Tucker Carlson had a really good segment. He's like, when my wife or my daughter say something, when a woman says something, I want to automatically believe them. And it seems that in this case, more women disbelieve her than the men that disbelieve her. They have done a poll.
Go ahead.
And I'm like, heck yeah, women lie all day, every day, hands down. I know them. I don't know any women. Unfortunately, I got Christian friends. They all lie. And if you had to lie for something this significant, I have had friends who have lied for things that are not this as significant as this. She told her husband that she could not wake up to a Brett Kavanaugh as Supreme Court Justice, that she wanted to move to New Zealand. Don't you think if you felt that way, you might make up a lie?
You know, and here's the thing. It kind of reminds me of, I've seen these memes that go around or different videos on Facebook or whatever, where you see the guy.
Have you heard the story about Joseph
who grabs his wife's phone or whatever and texts her best friend and was like, where were you last night? And she texts back, you were with me. You were with me. Okay. Right. Women lie for their friends. In the world, it shouldn't be that way, but it is. So if this woman is not lying for her friend, that should, and she's a Democrat, that should tell you something.
I'm not going to be able to find this meme. Somebody put together a meme with like the new character from the Avengers and the 3 other women characters in the Avengers against the, yes, I have watched it. I have cousins who make me watch these things.
And I guess his bad
guy's name is Thanos or something.
Yes.
So they're all like, something about, we don't need manpower. I don't know what it is. Okay, we can beat this guy. Right. And then the next sign says, all we got to do is accuse him of sexual harassment. We can take down Thanos, baby.
Why didn't you show that?
I don't know. It was funny. Okay, so.
Oh my gosh. Hang on, wait, because I wanted to go back to the Tucker segment, because I did hear him say, when you were playing last night, I didn't watch it, but I heard, in passing, I heard a little bit here and there, and he was talking to somebody, and he's like, listen, from what I understand, women are actually, we're supposed to have this bond, women are actually more likely to distrust other women.
That's right, yeah, I just said that.
I know, but you didn't emphasize it enough, because it really is true. Women that I know hate other women more than they hate men.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I don't get that.
They talk bad about men, but
they hate women. I think it's a jealousy thing. I don't know. Yeah. I really don't know what it is. Go ahead.
So key details in the narrative provided by Christine Ford, the woman accusing Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh of sexual assault, have been challenged over the past week, even as the California professor insists she was forcefully attacked and that she was not mistaken, had not mistaken Kavanaugh for anyone else. Ford has claimed Kavanaugh pinned her to a bed and tried to remove her clothes when they were teenagers at a house party in Maryland, although she has said she is unable to recall who owned the house, why they were there, and how she got home. She says she left the bathroom. By hiding in the bathroom. Ford told the Washington Post last week that there were 4 boys at that party where the alleged episode occurred, and that 2, Kavanaugh and his friend Mark Judge, had been in the room during the attack. Those boys, reportedly including Kavanaugh, Judge, and another classmate, Patrick Smith, have all since denied to the Senate Judiciary Committee under penalty of felony.
Wow.
Any knowledge of the particular party in question, as well as any misconduct by Kavanaugh. However, a woman, Leland Ingram Kaiser, a former classmate of Ford's at the Holton Arms All-Girls School in Maryland, has been identified by Ford as a 4th witness. In a dramatic twist, Kaiser emerged Saturday night to say she doesn't know Kavanaugh or remember being at the party with him. Simply put, Ms. Kaiser does not know Mr. Kavanaugh and has no recollection of ever being at a party or gathering where he was present. The less people there are at a gathering, the more likely you're going to remember they're there. So There's 4 dudes and 2 girls. I am remembering I am there.
Yes.
I am totally going to remember. I was at a party with 4 dudes and just me and another 15-year-old girl.
Yes.
Totally remembering that.
That's not going anywhere in my brain.
Totally remembering that. Ford and Post acknowledged in an article, you're going to have interactions that are at 15 unforgettable.
Unforgettable.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Oh, I'm with you. I'm tweeting this out. Leave means leave.
The Post acknowledged in an article by reporter Evan Brown on Saturday had told the paper more than a week ago about Kaiser, but that she didn't think Kaiser would remember the party because nothing remarkable had happened there as far as Kaiser was aware. But the Post did not mention Kaiser on Ford's preemptive dismissal of her memory because it's so much easier to discount males than it is a female. Kimberly Strassel, that's what I was reading last night. In addition to Brett Kavanaugh, Mark Judge is another person. A Washington Post spokeswoman said that Kaiser went unmentioned in the original story because she was unreachable and that the article was not intended to provide a comprehensive tally of everyone at the party.
Whatever.
Liars. They're such liars. Such liars. Liars. They specifically named the number of people but forgot the one. We wanted to let you know there are 4 boys at this party. We're going to name... Seriously. Because you couldn't reach her, well, you would give Ford's account, wouldn't you? You gave all the other details of Ford's account.
Right.
The apparent disparities emerged as Ford's lawyers downplayed Kaiser's statements as they reiterated Ford's claim that she had not mentioned the alleged episode. It's not surprising that Miss Kaiser has a recollection of the evening as they did not discuss it. It's also unremarkable that Miss Kaiser does not remember attending a specific gathering 30 years ago at which nothing of consequence happened to her. Remember, they're telling us that something of consequence happened to Ford, but all the details are hazy because it was so traumatic because something happened.
Right.
Democrats are playing this up. They don't want Kavanaugh confirmed.
You know what? Here's the deal. They opened up those can of worms, and you have to know that when you're going to deal with somebody that's lying, there's going to be Swiss cheese.
Here's the thing.
In this whole argument.
If I was Kaiser, I would be upset that you named me.
Yeah.
To be somewhere that I wasn't at.
Yeah.
I don't care if you're misremembering that I was at the place where you were hurt. I don't care, even if you were. I don't believe she was. I mean, this whole thing is a huge fraud. We covered that on Friday, and I don't really want to go over it anymore, but that is huge, and I wanted to bring that to you. Before we get into our big news, I wanted to show you this. This is the very first day of school. I know that Maish Alinjad, she's the Iranian woman, so I can't tell whether this is Saudi Arabia or Iran. But it's obviously in a place where the religion shall not be named, so that's the point that I'm showing this to you. The very first day of school, the principal is warning students that if their hair is not fully covered, she will personally cut her hair with scissors.
Wow.
Cut her with scissors. And I just wanted you to see this. What beautiful outfits. I love that they have cell phones and they're doing like selfies and stuff. I think they just like being superheroes because it doesn't look like she has a cape on.
For sure.
I will personally cut your hair with scissors. There's been a lot of videos. It's really been fun to watch. I should actually show you them of Iranian women and men standing up.
Oh,
to
yeah.
With hijab. So
with the Myself and Freedom,
yeah,
they've shared a lot of that. I have that video up.
Okay, yeah, let's go straight into this. Started like the 1:20 mark. We're only going to play a piece of it. This is Tommy talking about the fact that he is back in court. Unless you want to play, I'm going to play this Ezra one first.
Or on Tommy's website. So here's the news. As you know, in August, the Court of Appeal freed Tommy from prison, quashed his conviction, and tore a strip off the trial judge in Leeds who put Tommy in prison in the first place. The Court of Appeal said everything about Tommy's contempt of court case was improper. Tommy was never told what he did wrong that day. He was never given a proper chance to consult legal counsel. The trial was far too hasty. The sentence was improper. On and on. So they let Tommy out of prison immediately. But what's so awful is that instead of saying the matter's done, and maybe actually apologizing to Tommy for making him inappropriately served 2.5 months in solitary confinement, where he was practically starved, where he lost 40 pounds.
40
They're actually sending him
pounds.
back to trial for a do-over. They want to put him on trial again for the same contempt of court charge that he faced that day back in May. The whole thing again, and he risks being imprisoned again. For a moment there, it looked like the UK, maybe this thing was concluded successfully. That is not a matter of opinion, it is a fact. Tommy says the government is claiming that he violated the publication ban, but again, that's not true either. He didn't talk about any details from within the trial. He hadn't even been in the trial. He didn't even know the details. He was simply reading from a government website, the BBC state broadcaster, in fact, which listed the names of the accused. But they want to put Tommy away again, so the trial is actually happening now on Thursday, September 27th.
All right, here it goes. I think it's...
Now, the section 4, and this is the... I know I haven't done live streams for a little while. I've been trying to sort some stuff out. I've had so much going on. And I've just been waiting for this court date, to be honest.
Yep.
I've been... It's like...
Can't do
I
anything.
can't really get on with my life because I expect to go back to prison next Thursday. So I haven't been able to really make plans. I'm doing this now just as a live stream instead of making a video and putting it out. Kaylin and George are no longer working with me at the minute. But so I'm just doing a quick live update so I can keep people informed. Because I was originally sent to prison for breaching a Section 4 reporting restriction order. That's what they took me to court for. That's what they tried me for. And in a kangaroo court, sent me to prison for. Now, they're added 2 extra charges. So when I go before the Old Bailey, I'm not just up on that one order. They've widened that order. So all the people, I know a lot of comments, I keep seeing people saying, this is going to get thrown out. And it should get thrown out. But they're not. They're going all guns blazing. They're trying to, I've just been told tonight, 2 years in prison. 2 years in prison. 2 years in prison for speaking through my phone and giving people information. So on the Section 4 reporting restriction that I'm meant to have breached, put up on the screen to see what the reporting restriction was. There was nothing on the screen about a reporting restriction. Now, their own guideline says there has to be. I've got a photograph from the screen that day that says that proves there wasn't. There was nothing on the door either. So then I looked online at reporting restrictions. Now, what the law states is that the judge has no power to issue reporting restrictions over any information that's already in the public domain, which makes sense because if you can find it on the internet, what's the point in having a reporting restriction on it? So then I stood outside court and I'd done what I'd gone to training previously on contempt of court. So I made sure that I didn't presume the men's guilt about it. I never in any way would want to jeopardise one of those trials. In fact, I've spent the last 10 years trying to highlight these issues and bring them to the public. Their verdict. Now, one of the issues that, when I've gone through with my legal teams, is that may be one of the issues that I asked them about their verdict. When I go to court on next Thursday, many of you will watch live. Watch all the press. Watch how they behave towards me. Now, the widening of their case. So originally it's breaching this Section 4 reporting restriction. Now, the Section 4 reporting restriction was not just on the alleged Muslim paedophile case. It was also on, when he sent me to prison, he also continued this reporting restriction on that. Now, 3 newspapers that weekend breached that reporting restriction. I've got evidence and photographs of all of them. Whole Daily Mail, Leeds Live. They all broke the reporting restriction. None of them have been prosecuted. None of them. 2 weeks after I was in prison, Scottish Telegraph paper breached a reporting restriction. They got a fine. Rod Liddell writes for the Sunday Times. During the Stephen Lawrence murder trial, he breached a reporting restriction and almost clapped the trial. He got a £4,000 fine. A journalist I met the other day breached a reporting restriction, collapsed a murder trial at Leeds Crown Court. Nothing happened to him. So that people understand, reporting restrictions are commonly broken. Across this country, the people who get the fine. Not prison. Now, the reason I'm facing 2 extra charges, let me just detail so that, and the reason why I want to do this is because when you all read the news headlines on Thursday, Tommy Robinson sent to prison for bringing prejudice to trial. All the news headlines run everywhere saying, see, look, he was guilty, look what he done. Yeah? What the allegations now against me are, this is what it is, I'll read you it. This is what I'm facing prison for. I referred to the religion of the defendants, the ethnicity of the victims, in the context of his opinion, presented as a fact that those of the defendants' religion were disproportionately likely to commit crimes of the sort for which the defendants were being tried. So basically, I said that Muslims are overrepresented in convictions for sexual exploitation of young children. 90% of the convictions for child exploitation in grooming gangs is Muslim men. Muslims make up 4% of the British population, yet they're responsible for 90% of the convictions. That's a fact. I'm sorry, which I've just sat down and I've had this out now with law. I've gone through one law firm because I was being advised that I must apologise. I must meet the government in the middle. I must meet them in the middle, apologise and plead guilty, and then I will get to go home from court that day. If I don't do that, which I'm not going to do that, then I will be going to prison. So the fact that I presented a fact, which is what it is, it's a fact compiled actually by a Muslim organisation called Quilliam that done the data and the facts of the convictions. So I presented a fact, and I know we don't like facts in this country anymore. The other point, highlighting as significant the sexual references of the abuse that he had elicited from the defendants that he had confronted. So as these Muslim men walked into court, or I might get done there for mentioning they're Muslim, as these Muslim men walked into court, I didn't confront them. I said, like a journalist would, how are you feeling about your verdict, sir? I was very calm and polite. The response I received was sexual remarks of rape against my mother and my wife. So because they made those remarks against me, that, clearly reading here, is what they want to send me to prison for. I kid you not. More generally, making highly derogatory comments about the ethnic and religious backgrounds and associations of the defendants. What they use as that. Now, the derogatory comments that I meant to have used, let me read you them. And when they're convicted, the families shout about the girls being slags. You know, 11-year-old slags. They'll be children. But of course, under Islamic ideology, they're not children. They're women as soon as they start their periods. So they see it as their own fault, that it's their fault, and that they're on the streets and they shouldn't have been out late at night, and all these things are our fault, and it has nothing to do with the men that are abusing, or you hear certain politicians that turn around and say it's an opportunity. They're taxi drivers, it's because of the opportunity. Well, don't all non-Muslim taxi drivers have the same opportunity? But they don't do it in a mass scale, so it's obviously not to do with opportunity. So the derogatory, this is the government, this is from the government, the derogatory comments about the ethnic and religious backgrounds and associations. So because I said under Islamic ideology that they're not young girls, they're women, because they are under Islamic ideology, it's another fact. It's another bloody fact. So because I said that, making statements and selection of defendants for filming indicating an assumption of personal belief in the fact that complainants have been subject to the abuse.
We're going to stop it right there, and then I think this would be a perfect time to play Katie Hopkins' video. But here's the thing. The government in the UK, if you
No.
bring it up.
Okay. We're not going to, let's not do
So, we know that in the UK, they turned a blind eye to all these things because the police themselves did not want to be accused of what they're accusing Tommy Robinson of.
that. Right.
They don't want to be accused of being racist because if you call these out and if you go after just the, Pakistani people who tend to be the majority of the people doing this, then they're saving their own skins because they know that in the UK it's more offensive to say factual things or even mean things or even unfactual things than it is to actually commit a crime. Go
Right.
ahead.
Thank you very much indeed, Madam Moderator. The United Kingdom is in crisis regarding racism, xenophobia and intolerance, not because of Brexit, although, according to our liberal press, all Brexiteers are racist xenophobes who have to be introduced to their own reflection in the mirror or taught how to work Velcro. I'm a Brexiteer. And not because the stats on hate crime are rising rapidly, and of course they are. In 2016, 3,300 people were detained for posting offensive messages online. Last year, the British police arrested 9 people a day for their thoughts online. In the United Kingdom, hurty words have become a policing priority in London, where more than 100 children have been stabbed to death since the start of the year. Our Muslim mayor decided to allocate 1.7 million Great British pounds to a specialist online hate squads to police words. Knives are doing considerably more damage. Our crisis in the UK is that when you define anything other than
somebody had asked, one of you in the chat had asked, who is Katie talking to?
It's at the top.
It's at the top of the video there.
Thought as racist, xenophobic or intolerant, good people dare not share an opinion for fear of prosecution. We have become intolerant to alternative opinions or views or ideas. In fact, just last week, a police force in the UK urged people to report insults which make them feel bad, even if they're not crimes, under the slogan #HateHurts. Police have called upon members of the public to report incidents that made them feel hurt. Hurt is an emotion.
Stop. Hang on. I can't even. I'm sorry. I'm still angry about Tommy's video. Sean and Tracy have me watching the Stephen Avery trial, which already has me sensitive to an injustice and somebody being wrongly convicted. It's their fault that I was up until 2:30 last night. You guys are fired. But anyway, I'm so upset right now at the fact that why is it that it's just hate speech hurt that you can be arrested for? What happens, Leah, if you hurt my feelings on any subject? Why is it that I can't take you to the police just for hurting me? It doesn't just stop at you hurt my feelings because of hate speech. Okay, what quantifies at hate speech? Are we going to put every bully in school in juvie because they called Bobby fat or, Susie Four Eyes or something? I mean, we do not live in a society where you can be punished or imprisoned because you say something that hurts someone's feelings. You can't just all of a sudden say, well, you said it against their race, you said it against their religion, you said it against their ideology, and that is what makes it a crime. It is not a crime to hurt someone's feelings. If you go into that realm of thought, anybody can be put into jail at any time for saying anything about anyone, and we do not live in a free society any longer.
Right.
The UK in 2018, we are policing emotion. What next? Policing for feeling proud? And it doesn't take too much searching in our recent history to show what happens to those who dare challenge the system or the establishment. For the crime of standing in the street repeating information already in the public domain, Tommy Robinson was tried and convicted within 5 hours and sentenced to 13 months in jail. The British state is intolerant of speech regarding majority Pakistani Muslim rape squads in the UK. Our British daughters, victims of these grooming gangs, were called white trash. But in the UK, racism can only happen if you're black. The Lord Chief Justice himself said that Tommy Robinson was improperly tried, improperly convicted, improperly sentenced, and improperly treated in prison. Even as we sit here right now, Marine Le Pen has been ordered by a judge in France to undergo psychiatric testing for tweets criticising ISIS to see if her mental health could be a risk to the public. They want to label her as a mad woman for criticising terrorists. The French state is tolerant of terrorists, but intolerant of their critics. What madness is this? We are headed to a very dark place indeed. Imprisoned for speaking in the street, sectioned in France for criticising terrorists, arrested for hurty words online, policing emotion. It seems to me that many of those seated here who preach tolerance are in fact the most intolerant of all. I recommend the United Kingdom stop imprisoning those who criticise majority Pakistani rape squads. I recommend France stop trying to section people who criticise Islamist terrorists as madwomen, and I praise America for standing strong for your First Amendment rights. Thank you very much indeed.
Well
so that
done,
goes
Katie.
well into this article. We didn't share this on Friday because we were saving it for Sunday. Yes, our beloved Marine Le Pen has been ordered to go see a psychiatrist because she tweeted out a picture. I'm going to show a blurred picture of this, which says they were gruesome images. She was very angry of this is Daesh, meaning this is ISIS. And she says, I thought I had experienced everything, but no, having denounced the horrors of Daesh, now she has to undergo psychiatric treatment. She shared it after the 2015 Paris attack. They included the picture showing the execution of American journalist James Foley. She was charged in March with circulating violent messages that incite terrorism. Now, see, that's what they're charging. Now, this is absolutely so weird, and that's why we have to call it out, because I need a way to explain these things because I don't have words for the backwardness. Like, you know what I mean?
Let me do it.
Do you have a good word for it?
Yeah, well, I don't have a word for it, but I do have an explanation for it. It's the exact same thing that our Nana, God rest her soul, who passed away, was our dad's mom. Our dad was very abusive verbally, and he was an alcoholic, okay? He had stopped drinking, and then he had started drinking, but when he was a dry alcoholic, so he was still verbally abusive to us, and so we stopped talking to us. Our Nana,
we stopped talking to him.
We stopped talking to him. Our Nana had written us a letter, and she was like, pretty much saying, girls, it's your fault that your dad is drinking because you won't talk to him. And I wrote her back and I said, Nana, I love you and I respect you and I understand that you feel for your son, but what you're asking me to do is to sit in a room and have my dad wail on me, theoretically, in my face, and you're standing there saying, just take it, because if you don't take it, then it'll get worse. Or it's your fault that he's doing it. And so when you have somebody that says, if you speak out against an evil person, then they will come at you and make it harder, and that is your fault. We are living in the most insane era that I can imagine. The answer is you punish the person doing something bad. You do not punish the person that is speaking out against them. You can't just say you have to be silent. It's like Voldemort with Harry Potter. You don't say he who shall not be named, because if you say his name, then he might come at you. No, you have to be able to speak out, call these people out, and make changes so that it doesn't happen.
So literally, right is wrong and wrong is right. It is like Alice in Wonderland. Jam yesterday, jam tomorrow, never ever jam today.
Right.
It literally puts your mind in craziness unless you realize the devil's number one tool is to accuse other people of what he is guilty of. Liars do this all the time. Hillary Clinton was on a late night show saying, of course a president can be charged with a crime and be investigated, a sitting president. Okay? She faces up to 3 years in prison for inciting terrorism, inciting racial hatred, after she compared Muslim public prayers to the Nazi occupation of France during World War II.
Unbelievable.
So Marine Le Pen, populist leader Marine Le Pen, has rejected orders by a French court that she undergo a psychiatric evaluation in connection with her prosecution for tweeting out Islamic State executions. She's the leader of, they changed the name to the Rassemblement National, and revealed on Twitter she had been ordered to undergo a psychiatric evaluation as part of the case against her, saying, "I thought I had been through it all. No. How far will it go?" Le Pen then tweeted out a picture of the order saying, "It's a hallucination. This regime is really starting to scare me." And me too. The order comes from the District Court of Nanterre, and is dated the September of 11th. National Secretary of the Magistrates Union, Jackie Collomb, told the France Info that the process was automatic and said, "There is a mandatory psychiatric expertise in the context of an indictment when it comes to the dissemination of a violent message." So what they're saying is she disseminated the violent message in order to get people, like she's ISIS, saying, "Hey, come join ISIS. This is exciting, right? This is what you want to do." I was really excited to see the Italian Prime Minister come out in her defense. And it started to trend on Twitter in Italy. I don't know how far back I have to go to find that, but Matteo Salvini tweeted out his support. I guess they're having a I think they're having a meeting. Let's read some of her tweets. I'm going to try to Google translate these. "The aggressiveness of our adversaries makes our country take the rule of law out. There is an obvious willingness on the part of some judges to twist the text. Above all, this singular conception of law is accompanied by a desire to smear, to humiliate litigants." She says, "I do not recall that a press organ was criticized for the publication of the cliché of a little Poonam, a dead child stranded on the Turkish beaches, and was still prosecuted." Let's see. I know what it's like to be dissenting in a dictatorship, even limp. I know that through me it is our constituents that they want to reach and defame. When does the decree declaring insane 11 million people? We will not be intimidated. We are witnessing a surreal debate as to whether we should, I'm not sure who that is, so we're going to skip that.
We have quite a few people on Facebook Live today. Awesome. When I say quite a few, I mean twice as much as normal. Let's put it that way. So I don't want to forget to be checking out the Facebook Live comments.
Well, then read one.
In addition to the,
Hi.
Well, Dan says, sounds like Nana was wanting to pass him off on to someone else.
With the Fake News Act and the case of beating opponents by a parallel police force linked to the president, everyone notices the autocratic and authoritarian drifts, the repressive temptations, and the anti-Republican practices of the regime. If there's one good thing that comes out of this, even her enemies would see this as insane.
You would hope.
There have been many revolutions and many sacrifices to get freedom of expression. I say here, we will not give up this right. The French will not give up this right. We will continue to tell the truth. What motivates me, as you, my friends, are the convictions. This is only one commitment for the people. There is only ambition for France. Kind of weird translation there.
Nam Nam says, I never did understand how it is Middle Eastern Christians getting slaughtered, yet it is Muslims that come here in droves. Very odd. Meaning, we are supposed to be taking in refugees. What qualifies as a refugee is somebody that is being persecuted and fleeing that. Right. And that's what we see with the Middle Eastern Christians. Mm-hmm. And we're not getting them in droves. Europe is not getting them in droves. Mm-hmm. Those are the people that you should be taking in. Mm-hmm. It's really sad.
First, there is a love of my country whose decline, slow but inexorable, keeps worrying me. there is this flag, this beautiful blue, white, and red flag for which so many Frenchmen have died on the battlefields. This flag, the banner of freedom. That was my best.
That was pretty good.
Let's see. I'll read a couple more here. I am fighting for Ali, the family man beaten to death in front of his children for a parking space. For this girl whose collective rape was broadcast on social networks, and for all those people who were abandoned in the wilderness of society. I am fighting to eradicate this horror of terrorism by thinking that the most necessary tribute to victims is not a museum, but concrete and effective measures to ensure that these lives have not been taken for nothing. So happily, as people are tweeting out her quotes there, we can Google translate them. So she's got... So I guess you can probably watch her full speech today. Hopefully they'll turn that into, they'll give you some English subtitles to this speech. Not yet. I love when they can do it right away, but not yet. Speaking of freedom of speech, this is insanity. You ready? The European Court is ruling opens up a censorship of comparing abortion to murder. Because they don't want abortionists or people who have had abortion to feel bad. So if you compare abortion to murder, you could be faced with fines and censorship.
Okay, so you know what this sounds like to me? This sounds like the gag order that happened to John Quincy Adams on slavery. They make it so that you literally cannot talk about it. Somebody had shared a meme the other day of William Wilberforce's great-great-grandson, who said that if his great-great-grandfather, William Wilberforce, who pretty much helped or spearheaded abolishing slavery in England, if he was alive today, whenever his great-great-grandson made this quote, his battle would be abortion. And that is unequivocally true. What we see is the idea behind slavery was to convince all people that the Negro man was less than human. So anytime anybody ever tries to bring that argument forth, they are less than human. You must stop in your tracks. Because I'm going to tell you, the only thing that is less than human is something that is literally not human and never, ever will or can be. You are human from conception to birth to death. And you can't ever be considered less than human. And you have human rights endowed by your creator from conception through birth and death.
So, the European Court of Human Rights has rejected the appeal of a German pro-life campaigner opening up censorship to those who compare abortion to murder. The Strasbourg court rejected the appeal of campaigner Klaus Günther-Annen, who was ordered by German courts in 4 separate injunctions to stop comparing abortions to the Holocaust and saying that the doctors performing them were committing aggravated murder. Literally told to stop. So, I can't, in Europe, the censorship, you guys still have fascism. You still have Nazism, and they are being played out in the EU. That's why I want you to leave the EU. Not that the UK is any better, but the EU is worse.
Exactly.
Okay? The judges claimed that the censoring of the activist did violate his freedom of expression, but was necessary in a democratic society.
Wow.
That does not go hand to hand, okay? Here's the thing. They are allowed to compare Trump to Hitler. I know this for a fact.
Right.
For a fact. They can
absolutely.
say that Trump is Hitler everywhere in all over Europe.
And I don't care, though.
And I don't care.
You can say it till you're blue in the face. I don't care.
They also said that
Trump
by
doesn't
accusing
care.
and comparing specific doctors performing abortion procedures to the perpetrators of the Holocaust on his website, the German campaigner had not only been very serious, but might have incited hatred and aggression.
Wow.
The issue of abortion came to the forefront of European politics earlier this year when the Republic of Ireland held a referendum on legalizing the practice, which has been legal in other European Union member states for years. Leaked documents last year showed the left-wing Hungarian-American billionaire George Soros' Open Society Foundations pushed for abortion to become legal in Ireland. The left wants less Irish people
Yeah.
and wants to flood Ireland with migrants. If you can't see that, you're blind. I hope your eyes can be opened. With one of the most restrictive abortion laws in the world, a win there could impact other strongly Catholic countries in the world, such as Poland, and provide much-needed proof that change is possible even in highly conservative places, says the Leak Open Society Foundation document. In May of this year,
gosh.
Irish citizens voted to make abortion legal. And now you can't even talk about it. Now, Planned Parenthood is, quote, excited over the prospect of abortions in Ireland. Exciting news for the women in Ireland! Planned Parenthood tweeted out Thursday over news that Irish women can now legally kill their unborn children. Planned Parenthood's excitement over abortion flies in the face of the deceptive mantra parroted by Hillary Clinton and the pro-choice lobby that abortions should be safe, legal, and rare. Today, Planned Parenthood and the entire abortion industry celebrates abortion, fiercely opposing any restrictions that would make it rarer. On Tuesday, Irish President Michael D. Higgins signed the abortion referendum bill into law, abolishing the 8th Amendment to the Irish Constitution that guaranteed the right of life of unborn human babies.
Do you understand that he literally just signed into law
The unpersoning of people.
removing the right to life? Unbelievable.
In a straightforward language, the amendment read, the state acknowledges the right of life of the unborn and with due regard to the equal right of life of the mother guarantees in its laws to respect and as far as practicable by its laws to defend and vindicate that right. Here's the thing. The law literally said, listen, with respect to the mother's life, as long as it's practical, the baby has a right to live.
Right.
That's so good. Last May, the Irish people voted to overturn the amendment 66-33. Ireland had been flooded with funding, much of it in foreign, to push. You had actor, remember Liam Neeson, U2. This is sick, seeing men fight for killing babies.
You know what, though? I do want to differentiate. Leah and I, our stance is abortion is wrong 100% of the time. But for argument's sake, and I have no problem going there with people, I would be willing to entertain a discussion with people that said, all right, let's take all abortions and let's split out all of the ones where it is not for medical reasons to save the mother. Do you have any idea how many lives?
Well, I definitely believe in the mother's life is of utmost importance. It's a medical decision.
What I'm saying is we have to separate the two, and they do not. It's all or nothing with them. So
and I'd be willing to sit down. They're not even willing to compromise. It's all or nothing for them.
Exactly.
So what about the heartbeat bill?
Right.
Why did you have to go to why couldn't you say, okay, when you hear the heartbeat?
Yeah.
Or Dean Cain made a movie about Robert Gosnell, or this is his name, the guy that the doctor, the abortion doctor who was killing babies outside the womb. He said he believes in viability. So when a baby can physically live outside of the womb, then no abortions. But like when all these abortions take place, we don't scale back. Mm-hmm. We don't say, hey, let's try here and let's see what happens.
Right.
Okay. Let's try it here and let's see what happens.
There is no discussion whatsoever. It's just all dumped into, well, now we give no rights to the unborn.
And the fact that Planned Parenthood is excited.
Right.
Killing a baby, being pregnant when you don't want to be, is terrifying.
It's very serious.
Horrifying and very sad and depressing, because being pregnant should be the most exciting moment of your life. And if you're pregnant and you don't want to be, and it's that terrifying, so terrifying that you can't say, well, I'll at least carry this baby for 9 months and give it to somebody else who wants it, because there are people who do want babies who can't have them.
Absolutely.
I'm not even willing to just walk around for 9 months with somebody, with a baby in my belly so that it can live.
Right.
We see all these people share things about all these things that are so sacrificial, right? If you're pregnant and you don't want to be, yes, it would be sacrificial to walk around pregnant. However, pregnancy does change a woman's mind. It does make you there are we had a friend of ours who was like paralyzed almost and in a wheelchair, and she was dying. She got pregnant, and the stem cells from the baby, because babies create stem cells, went into her bloodstream.
Yeah.
She's a perfectly normal human being.
Yeah.
Perfectly normal, healthy human being. She was blind. She was born blind. She couldn't see. She was telling her husband, go find somebody else. Just leave me. And they got pregnant, and it brought her baby literally saved her life.
Yeah.
So there are things that happen to you
Yeah.
that are good, changes that are good that can happen to you.
Right.
And you could say, I will carry this baby for 9 months. It's going to be a little uncomfortable, but I would give that 9 months of uncomfortableness so this person can have life.
Well, not only that, but the other argument is like rape, right? Well, if somebody's been raped, then they should have the right to kill that child. Unfortunately, and I've said this before, if somebody gets pregnant as a result of the rape,
Murder isn't the answer.
well, not only that, but you have to consider that as, if you consider it a bad thing, if I was raped and I got pregnant, I would praise God for that there was something beautiful that came out of a tragedy. But if you do believe it's a bad thing, then you have to at least say, listen, I was raped and I got pregnant, and that's all part of the same tragedy. You can't take back the rape, and you can't take back the pregnancy. It just is part of the same
they never
thing.
even say, I was thinking about this, they never even say, okay, well, in cases of rape and incest, up to the point of viability, they just what I mean?
And that's what I'm saying. They never bring it to the table so we can talk about things. They never meet anyone halfway.
I would sit down and I would say, what can we do for life? What can we compromise on?
Right.
Okay?
Can we at least save over half of the children that are being aborted simply because it's an inconvenience for that person?
Well, shouldn't they have, if they're being honest, put on the ballot like 3 different wordings?
Right.
You know what I mean? Let's do the viability one. Let's see which one that the Irish people would want, and bring the pros and cons.
I bet they would have settled for the very, very minimum.
I know. So I wanted to bring you this. This is women in, where are they?
I actually had that video up if you want me to.
Oh, this is women in Chile. 2 weeks ago in Chile, where pregnant women amplified the heartbeats of their unborn babies for all to hear. This is perhaps the most eloquent pro-life presentation.
I've got it right here.
And it should be done. Heartbeat. Can we just go with the heartbeat? We start somewhere. I believe this is in. Trying to figure out where this was. It's all over the place in the UK. All right. Student editor fired for transphobia after women don't have penises tweet. The student has been fired from a position with a free speech society as an assistant editor of a university journal for so-called transphobia after sharing an article and comment reading women don't have penises. Angelos Sofkolosis, 24, was pushed out of his role with a critique Durham University's philosophy journal after his retweet of an article in The Spectator outraged students on social media who claimed he was harming the transgender. He was also fired from his position as editor of Durham University's online magazine, The Bubble, and forced to resign as president of the Free Speech Society of Humanist Students. He says, after being forced to resign as president-elect of the Humanist Student and fired as assistant editor of The Critique, I have now been fired as general editor of Durham Bubble simply for believing that women don't have penises. Has the world gone mad? In the now deleted tweet, he shared an article titled, "Is it a crime to say women don't have penises?" Hundreds of people replied to the tweet, including the former chair of the LGBT humanist Christopher Ward, who claimed the post was factually incorrect and not worthy of a debate. He added, as former chair of the LGBT Humanist UK, the opposition I experienced from a number of long-standing humanist members to trans people and trans issue was a stain on an otherwise great organization. And here's the new president of Humanist Students arting horrific transphobic shit. In August, Ryan Lowe, the president of the university's Philosophy Society, sent Mr. Sophoclousis an email saying the group had voted to remove him from his position, claiming his tweets served to belittle trans experiences. Writing on the Critique Journal's Facebook page, Mr. Liu says, Durham University Philosophy Society has a duty to act within the best interests of all its members, therefore is committed to equality and diversity and to our democratic principles as a group of Durham Students' Union. We do not tolerate practices of racism, sexism, trans exclusionary sentiments. The new editor-in-chief of the Critique said he is happy to announce the publication would not be tolerating trans exclusionary radical feminists or bowing to their pressure. Since when is gender criticism a thought crime? Criticizing gender shouldn't be taken personally by trans who claim that this threatens their existence or belittles their experiences. It has nothing to do with your existence. Stop silencing people because you're offended. He also hit back at claims he was a bigot and harming transgendered people. He wrote, the reaction against me was extreme, yet it was far from exceptional. On campus, the subject of gender is now off limits for those who fail to fall into line with the new orthodoxy, that being a man or woman is fluid. Anyone who says otherwise is liable to find themselves hounded into silence. At Durham University, as well as other universities, it would be easy to think that the importance of never causing offense is all that matters. This remains the case even when upholding this focus gets in the way of facts or the right of people to hold differing views or on a contentious subject such as gender. This is why Maia tweet resulted in such a fierce reaction. I was told that the reason for my firing from the student journal was because I had belittled trans experiences. The explanation for my removal as editor of the Bubble was worse. My position at the magazine, I was told, required me to be impartial. Being impartial, however, requires having no views at all, at least when it comes to gender.
All right, here we go.
I
have something we're going to play here. Why is it that these things fix it?
I don't know why.
Always. With the, you know what we're going to get? I'm going to get those little ones without the cord that have like a, yeah, that's what I'm going to get because I can't with the spaghetti noodles. All right, so we did this video, I don't know, a year ago, and I thought it was really fun. So we're going to play it right now.
The
look, you're going to get an ad first.
actions I've taken because of this knowledge has definitely improved the quality of my life.
Howdy, y'all. So Leah and I, we're getting ready to fill up our pool. We got a pool over there. We're gonna.
It's a redneck pool.
It's a redneck pool. It's one of those. It's 24 feet. That's pretty big, I think. Okay, so we needed an extra hose to fill up our pool with water. So we said, okay, we're gonna get the hose from the front of the house, and we're gonna run it back here, and we're gonna hook it up to our back hose. Now, show them the back hose.
This is the one we brought.
This is the one that we had, and we went to hook it up, and we had the wrong ends together. Now, what do we got here? We got a male end here and another male end here. Now, guess what? They ain't go together.
They don't.
So I said we need to flip it around. So we're going to the other end of the hose, and then we realized
We got
that
this extra thing.
we got this thing on here now. What's that?
This is a transgender.
That's the transgender part of the hose. This is something Kansas put on there because he didn't want a male or female, which actually technically it's just a male part, but it's pretending to be something that it's not. All it is it's a snap-on fitting, like an air compressor.
It's
Y'all know how those work. It's male that wants to be a female, but it can't.
So I told the host
She gotta take that off.
Transgenderize.
She said transgenderize, so we can get this thing hooked together. We God created hoses to go. Y'all know what I'm saying? You feeling me? Look at this.
Male
Male and female.
to female.
I said to Leah, I said, we ain't gonna get no water from the front of the house to the pool if you ain't got the right fittings. It's the way God intended it. The hose goes together like that. Y'all know what I'm saying? Feel me. Feel me. We don't want no hoses stopped up because that don't work. That don't work at all. So there you go. There's your lesson. If you needed a visual aid, we just done gave it to you. Okay, there you go. All right, so I hope that was self-explanatory, but here's the deal. What I'm envisioning is little boys. God love little boys. I've never had one, but I have watched a few in my day. And when it comes to explaining to them that they have that male part that girls don't, it freaks them out. They think it's hilarious. They are now special because they have something that girls don't. And that's how you explain the difference to a child between girls and boys. Because at that age, the fact that they like monster trucks and the girls like Barbies isn't exactly a good enough answer. Well, what really makes us different? Why are we not the same? You explain it because you say girls don't have what you have here. So when someone comes out and says that the thing that we have been telling little boys forever, since the beginning of time, this is how parents have explained to little boys the difference between little girls and little boys. Don't try to explaining it to little girls is a little bit weirder because boys think it's hilarious when you tell a little girl that and they kind of like, what? But I mean, seriously, this is, are you serious? You're going to do this right now?
You know, there was a time when we were allowed to be sane.
True.
And now you can't make this movie ever again. Kindergarten Cop.
No.
With Arnold Schwarzenegger. You can put, I think it might even have her turned up.
Where'd she go?
That doesn't matter.
You didn't turn the
Did she
TV.
die?
No,
Did
Lois,
she die?
she went to see someone.
Did they die?
No, Lowell.
Everyone dies, you know.
I know, but not for a long, long time. Now, until Mrs. Hagley comes back, we have someone special to help. This is Mr. Kimball, your new kindergarten teacher.
Remember when Arnold Schwarzenegger was not like super Mr. Now he's like super lefty. He like ran as a Republican, you know. I know.
Now let's everybody say good morning, Mr. Kimball.
Good morning, Mr. Kimball.
Good morning.
This was my
They're
generation.
all yours.
I grew up with this.
I'll be watching you.
You literally, I think your point of bringing this up is you could not make
Hi.
this movie.
Yeah. No, you couldn't.
You couldn't
How
make
are
this
you?
movie. Unbelievable.
I'm very happy to be here. First,
Almost 30 years
I would
later.
like to just get to know you. Ha 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 ha. Quiet. I want to ask you a bunch of questions. And I want to have them answered immediately. How many of you were born in Astoria? Come on, raise your hands. Let's see them. Okay. Now, anyone that was not born in Astoria, somewhere outside like California, raise your hands.
Of course, it's gonna be at the very end of this 2-minute video.
Yeah.
Yes.
I need to go to the bathroom.
Okay, we can go.
Boys have a penis, girls have a vagina.
Thanks for the tip.
It really was at the very end.
Yeah.
All right, but you could go, I mean, I think Arnold Schwarzenegger should go to jail for even participating in that movie.
No, that movie should be totally and completely
Banned.
blacklisted.
Yeah.
Never, ever to be played ever again.
Absolutely.
We have learned so much, just like slavery.
We have come out of the dark ages.
Yeah.
Where you can say something like that. It literally, and I'm sorry to keep bringing it back to George Orwell's 1984 because we were subjected to that horrible, horrible movie last week. But it is just like that. We have the policing of thought crime, and we are living it. And the fact that everyday Americans that aren't you guys, that aren't out there seeking the truth, are blissfully unaware that their very rights are being stripped out from underneath of them.
We have good news, though, because Mr. Farage
Good news.
is combating, at least getting, is out on the front lines. He's vice president of the Leave Means Leave campaign. They had a rally and get together last night, so let's play some of his clips here. Maybe he can bring some sanity back to this stuff.
Okay.
And I think it's about time that our elected politicians began to feel the heat over the extent of the betrayal they're putting on this country. You will find on your chairs the names, addresses, emails, phone numbers of all the local MPs in the Bolton area who do not wish to clearly take us out of the European Union, take us out of the single market and put back proper border controls in this country. And for this to be successful, what we need you to do, we need you to be queuing up outside their constituency offices. We need you to say to these MPs, if you betray what we instructed you to do, we will never vote for you again. And we'll do it, and we'll do it politely. We'll do it without abusive language. We will do it in the best traditions of this country, but we will do it firmly. We will make them know where we stand on this issue. So please, please do that. Take from us, I hope, the lead that says there's nothing that scares politicians more than the prospect of losing their jobs. It concentrates the mind rather wonderfully.
All right. So,
Well said, Nigel. You got another one?
There
I
are
had that one too, but
5 million people, 5 million people who voted Brexit and then voted for Corbyn at the next general election. There was some polling out the other day that suggested that in marginal seats this could cost Labour a significant number of seats. Against that, I guess you have to weigh up. I mean, why would you bother to vote Lib Dem? You know, Vince Cable's whole shtick with the British public has been he wants an exit from Brexit, he wants another referendum. They're on 7 or 8% in the polls. But if the Labour Party adopt that position, I think they would then pick up some votes from a Liberal Democrat. So I do see some gains for Labour in doing this, but I think the potential losses far outweigh it. I think going for a second Brexit referendum, as they're about to do, will make Labour less electable.
So I actually had a thought today, and I know that it's not
thought crime.
It's American, but it goes along with this. That 5 million Labour voters voted for Brexit. Now, those are the same people, same kind of mindset of people who actually Donald Trump doesn't know. Bernie Sanders voters hated Hillary and the wars and the war in Syria and Donald Trump, and they voted. I'm sure, I know because they followed our pages. They voted for Donald Trump. Now they're disappointed in Trump. I think that Trump's angle in 2020, he's got to go back to being anti-war.
Yes,
he's got to go back to being the Trump he was. He's got to be.
I agree.
He's got to reach out to the Bernie voters. He's got to reach out to them because there's a lot of things that we have in common with. And he is trying to stick with the Republican establishment Republicans.
Right.
But if he wants the vote as president.
Yes.
Okay, there's a difference between getting people voted in, Republicans voted in into Congress.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason you see, and I'm not actually afraid now of these little commie socialists gaining traction in Florida. Cortez, whatever her name is in New York. This guy, Bezos in Texas against Cruz. I have always said to myself, we should be able to beat the communists and socialists on their ideas.
Yes.
Okay? But if people are truly honest and they really want to solve issues, then we can sit down with the Bernie people.
Right.
If they just hate Republicans or they just angry, and if they're just saying, do they want people to have a college education, or are they set in having the government pay for it?
Yeah.
Why don't we sit down and find a way for college to be affordable?
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you and you think that we should just pay whatever colleges, Alexandria, that the Bernieites really just want to close their eyes and say, government fix it, government fix it.
Yeah.
Okay, no. If you're going to come to the plate and say, I want to change things, I want to change things too. We need honest politicians who are willing to sit down at the table, who have the same goals. Most everybody has the same goals. I don't want to see people hungry. I don't want to see people without housing.
We want to see affordable health care.
I want to see affordable health care too. Okay? But the way you're going about it tramples on my rights and the rights of my fellow human beings. And as we have seen with our particular Affordable Health Care Act, has taken away and actually caused a lot of people to be sick, caused a lot of people not to ever go to the doctor because of high deductibles and things like that. So now their answer is more government.
Exactly.
The Affordable Care Act didn't work because it didn't go far enough. Now we need the government to go even farther.
Right.
And one of our viewers had said, I wouldn't be here without the NHS. But I need you to understand something. If you didn't have the NHS, let's say a random number off the top of my head, 30% of your income might still be in your pocket, to which you could probably afford a premium yourself, and you would have better health care without the NHS.
Because what happens with the NHS is it removes all competition. And what you need in any kind of market, especially in healthcare and in health insurance, is a competition, so that it causes prices to come down. It incentivizes the healthcare providers and the insurance companies to provide the best healthcare for you so that you choose their services. So you're getting worse healthcare and they're taking more of your money in order to accomplish that.
So I have great ideas. I would love to sit down with Bernie Yates and say, hey, did you know that in our country particularly, they limit the number of medical students? You have, let's say you've got 100 medical people who want to enter medical school. They all have the exact same scores. They're all equal. But I believe it was the 80s, what the doctors wanted to raise their salaries. First, that means do no harm. That was evil. So they went to the government and they said, we want the government to limit
the amount of doctors.
Competition.
Do you know why they don't want more doctors? Because of what I just said. They have made it so that doctors are elitist, because if there are more doctors flooding the market and there was a doctor on every corner, then healthcare would come down. To see a doctor would cost less.
Just like a
money.
veterinarian, right? Nobody puts caps on people who go to veterinary school. If you want to go to veterinary school, if you have the grades, if you have the knowledge, you can be a vet.
Right.
Okay?
That is not the case when it comes to being a doctor.
If you want to be a nurse, you can be a nurse.
Right.
If you want to be a nurse, I believe if you want to be a nurse practitioner, that's why more people are becoming nurse practitioners, which is like right under a doctor, because there's no caps on nurse practitioners.
Right.
So I would love to sit down with, like, here's the Corbyn people should sit down with, we don't want to be told what to do by the EU. You know, there's a lot of Corbynites who don't want war and don't want to be part of the EU and don't even want to be part of the whole migrant crisis. So sit down with these people and discuss real, true answers. I literally was just thinking to myself, I would love to sit down with Bernie people, because is your goal, you're betraying yourself if you're saying that your goal isn't,
you're a bleeding heart and you want to help people.
Here's the thing, is your goal to get people health care?
Right.
Okay? Or is your goal just to get the government to pay for it?
Right.
Okay?
And remember,
and that
the government isn't just the government, it's we the people. Or are you trying to get all Americans to pay for it? Are you trying to force one American to pay for another American? Because if that is your goal, we cannot have a conversation.
See, here's the thing. I would be for rules that made creating medical schools have easier. Okay? And I actually would be for getting those up and running, some government funds, because it would be cheaper in the long run for government funds to build these medical schools like they do already. Government already gives hospitals money. Government already gives, like, universities money. The University of Cincinnati downtown, they already get government money. Okay, so if we need to,
what you're saying is we're libertarians and we wouldn't normally go that far, but if you're going to have a civil discussion and not say it's my way or the highway, these are areas where we could come to the middle at.
Exactly. So then we have more doctors. So then we don't need government, Medicaid or Medicare or things like that.
Like we talk about with handouts for food stamps and whatnot.
Right.
And just money that they give
if
to
you're
poor
going
people.
to be giving people food stamps,
give them a
why
farm
not give them why not give them land so that then they can grow their own after that,
and then it's completely up to them. And we have so many people that say, well, Lee and Michelle, they just wouldn't do it. If that was the only option, they would.
And if they wouldn't do that, then they don't get any
and then you
government
don't get
housing.
it. Then you do not get it.
So anyways, those are just some ideas I was talking about. That brought it up. So here we have Brexit rally. Nigel Farage brands EU gangsters as crowds cheer at first Leave Means Leave event in Bolton.
His biggest fan, but I tell you what,
Are you ready?
I may not be Theresa May's biggest fan, but I tell you what, I'll be damned if we should allow foreign, unelected bureaucrats, people who have power without accountability, to treat our Prime Minister like that. We will explain that a free trade deal is possible if that's what the gangsters in Brussels want, and if they don't, that is fine. If they don't, we will leave with no deal, and far from being a cliff edge, no deal, no problem. No deal, we're an independent country. That is what matters.
So bringing that up, go ahead and play that video. What he's referring to is that it's kind of like Michelle and I might get an argument.
No.
But other people aren't allowed to pick on my sister.
Doesn't happen.
Okay, so the UK is having a huge row.
This one right here.
No.
That's the one you just played?
Yeah. This one. Brexit, May demands respect after EU rejects her plans.
Oh, okay. On YouTube?
Yeah.
Finish your thought.
Theresa May's Chequers plan was denied by the EU. And basically, and she wasn't even told why it was denied. She wasn't told which areas she needed to fix.
Right.
So in this video, we're going to see the fact that while Theresa May is not doing the best that she could for the UK, the Chequers plan is not right for the UK. However, the way that it was done in good faith, and the way the EU is looks really bad at this. I actually played it under.
No.
I think I might have played it in the wrong one or
it
something.
should be that.
I think Barry sent it, so just
Okay.
look at in that.
Yeah, because I thought I already pulled that up.
You did. I showed you which one
Is
to
it this
bring
one?
up. No, go down.
Down.
We're up. Let me see. Up. Wait, go down. Go down. I think it might be that one. You keep going over it.
No, I just. That's a separate one.
No. Up. I think that's it.
Okay, well, it was showing Theresa May, which is probably why it wasn't.
Nope, that's not it.
I can just type it in.
Channel 4 News. Brexit, May demands respect after EU rejects her plan. Yeah. So
Which some
it's only 41 seconds long.
that's the ad.
Oh, okay.
have embraced to argue falsely that oppose immigration enforcement. Always a great threat to the
now news are outraged over Scarlett Johansson playing.
You wouldn't watch shows if they sounded.
Okay.
Britain's future, but also to some extent.
Theresa May woke today to dreadful headlines. Of the Salzburg summit seemed to leave her Brexit plans in chaos.
She does not have.
As she and her aides met to respond, the press gathered in the rain as a camera was summoned to number 10 to broadcast a short speech. She was steadfast, not least on the big problem of Ireland and EU plans post-Brexit for customs checks between Britain and Northern Ireland.
It is something I will never agree to. Indeed, in my judgment, it is something no British Prime Minister would ever agree to. If the EU believe I will, they are making a fundamental mistake. Anything which fails to respect the referendum or which effectively divides our country in two would be a bad deal. And I have always said, no deal is better than a bad deal.
She never said the word checkers, but defended the cabinet deal struck there in July as the means to frictionless trade in goods with the EU. But in Salzburg, the president of the European Council said checkers won't work.
Yesterday, Donald Tusk said our proposals would undermine the single market. He didn't explain how in any detail or make any counter-proposal. So we are at an impasse.
That admission that Brexit talks had reached an impasse caused the pound to fall again. EU leaders, Theresa May insisted, should now say in detail what was wrong with Chequers, or do better.
Throughout this process, I have treated the EU with nothing but respect.
Yeah.
The UK expects the same. A good relationship at the end of this process depends on it. At this late stage in the negotiations, it is not acceptable to simply reject the other side's proposals without a detailed explanation and counter-proposals.
And for the first time, she publicly assured the 3 million plus EU citizens in the UK they'll be able to stay here even if EU states don't do the same for British people.
I want to be clear with you that even in the event of no deal, your rights will be protected. You are our friends, our neighbours, our colleagues. We want you to stay.
And she repeated,
I will not overturn the result of the referendum, nor will I break up my country. We need serious engagement on resolving the two big problems in the negotiations. And we stand ready.
After the pasting she got overnight, that was Theresa May fighting back, using very plain and simple language, but angry and defiant, in what could prove to be one of the historic speeches of this long, long saga.
As the PM left Downing Street shortly afterwards, Labour said the political games from both the government and the EU need to end.
The defiance of the Prime Minister is all very well, but she knows as well as we do that the Chequers proposal is not just objected to in Europe, it's objected to back here by her own party. Well, imagine the situation if she tries to take a further step to close the gap. Her own party will then challenge her.
Theresa May arrived to start the weekend in her Berkshire constituency, having sent a strong message to the continent. But will it really change anything?
Well, it's not really clear whether the speech will help the Brexit talks, but there does seem today to have been a more conciliatory tone from European leaders, an effort not to escalate things. Donald Tusk, in a statement released tonight after the speech, said he remains convinced that a compromise is still possible. I say these words as a close friend of the UK, he said, and a true admirer of Prime Minister May. And Jean-Claude Juncker compared Britain and Europe to being like two loving hedgehogs. We're not at war with Great Britain, he said, but when two hedgehogs hug, you have to be careful that there are no scratches. The real significance...
All right, so what Nigel was saying is that we can mess with Theresa May, but when the EU does, who we don't like why we're leaving in the first place,
right?
You're messing with all of us to begin with. Rees Moggs says Mrs. May was as mighty as Boadicea, but her stirring words don't make a bad plan good. Rees Mogg on how the Prime Minister should use her willpower to deliver a better Brexit.
Horatio says May has only two options: either cave in on single market and free movement, or Parliament vote down Chequers and leave no deal.
And that very well may be. But I think that it also shows the EU is in a bind.
And it's like, dude, it's a leopard showing its spots, essentially. The fact that they've pretty much said they gave no explanation whatsoever. What that shows is they are not willing to negotiate. They're not willing to come to the table. They're still kind of saying, you can't leave.
Right.
We're not going to even talk about it. It's like a parent just saying, I'm not even going to acknowledge your temper tantrum.
So you've got these three Brexiteers who, I honestly don't know the other two, but they are leading this campaign. Farage, Hoey, is that how you say her? Hoey, and Davis, David Davis, I believe, the Brexit secretary, launched campaign to chuck Chequers and save Brexit. So they had this rally, the rebirth of the People's Army to stop the betrayal of Brexit. Organized as part of the Leave Means Leave Save Brexit campaign, the Stop Brexit Betrayal rally in Bolton on Saturday afternoon saw the three Brexiteer heavyweights barnstorm for the support of a clean Brexit with a free trade deal over Prime Minister Theresa May's Cheka's plan, appearing for the first time on stage as part of a political campaign since June 2016's referendum vote. Mr. Farage explained that the group would start to counter the Remain camp's negative lobbying. Somebody has got to come out and say, you're not going to get more STDs. There will still be sandwiches. I mean, this has gotten out of hand, y'all. I mean, when you start bringing STDs into Brexit, you know you have reached the bottom of your barrel of excuses. You know that in reality, there ain't nothing bad going to happen to you. Okay, when you start bringing in, they had 60 things lined up. They were just going to bring them in one after another. Okay, there will be no more sky. The rain won't fall. The grass is all going to turn purple. I mean, like, things are going to really, like, happen. Winston Churchill will have never been born. It is that bad. We're going back in time. If they don't, we will leave with no deal, and far from being a cliff edge, no deal, no problem. We'll be an independent country. Dude, you have been one of the longest solid countries in the world. I mean, you aren't going anywhere. Pick up a stinking history book. You guys are able to just go, you take the beating and you keep on going. All right? I mean, seriously, it was called the British Empire for a reason. Da 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 da. Britain never ever shall be saved. Whatever. I mean, seriously. I mean, we separated and all that. I mean, we're like, you know, better 2.0. Learn from us a little bit. You know, stop putting people in prison for saying that men have penises. Come on. It is hurting my head. All right. Actually, that's not why they're putting people in jail. They're not, the religion that shall not be named. The religion that shall not be named. That's why they're putting people in jail. Well, if they don't, we will leave with no deal and far from being in the cliff. Oh, yeah, we're going to be fine. We're going to be fine. We're going to be fine. We're going to be just fine. I am going to show you some of the some pictures, because here's the thing. You remember how hate hurts? That whole campaign of hate hurts.
Yeah, but I like how Katie Hopkins calls it hurty words.
Right, hurty words.
Hurty.
Hurty
like,
words.
Hurt, that she totally made that up. Hurty words.
Hate hurties. Hate hurties.
For spewing hurty words.
You're allowed to talk down against a specific demographic, though.
Yeah.
If the room had been filled with the people of the religion that shall not be named,
right,
you wouldn't be able to talk down. You wouldn't be able to say anything. However, what I saw through going through my tweets was the fact that many of the people in the room were older.
Yeah.
Not all of them, because what you have here in America, too, is the young people who are able to get out of the brainwashing, they get excited. So when I see a room full of older people with splitter, you know, with young people, and they're getting along and they're, you know, they're able to like talk about the same things, and there is a wide range. When it comes to the wanting to be in the EU, you have to recognize that the left and the liberals have had your children's minds in jail, and it's just like George Orwell.
It is.
Where the older people who remembered, they remember what life was like before the controlling oppressors came in. The children they never knew life without the EU.
Right.
They never knew freedom of expression. They never knew true British humor.
Right.
Their lives are laughless.
What's fascinating to me is that Hunger Games, one of the most popular movies of our generation and time, it depicts George Orwell to a T, and yet here's what they do. It's the game that they play. They put it out there so that you see, no way are we that.
Right.
You know what I mean? And yet that's what they're doing the whole time.
There was an accent out here the other day.
Infant terrible. Greetings from Formentera, Spain.
Yay! Here's the thing. The fact that so many older, white-haired people are there means that they have stake in the game, that they're really moved by it. Because honestly, they would probably just rather sit at home and just let this play out. Yep. The fact that they got up, could you imagine? They got their little British flags. They feel
They
patriotic.
have their little British flags.
Okay, they're either the children of the soldiers of World War II, or they had aunts, or they had uncles, or some of them probably, fought in World War II. I mean, a few of them, they're still left around. And they remember a different Britain where people were kind and gentle. And the reason the NHS was set up was to help people, and it wasn't to just drain the entire society of all their finances. And I am hardened to see older people there. Literally, and it hurts my head because it's like euthanasia. People are saying, these people won't be around in 15 years, so why do they care?
Wow.
These people will be dead.
Wow.
That is cold, and it was heartless, and I say, arrest them all! No, I don't say that. You're allowed to say that. But it is hurtful, and it's mean. And they keep saying it over and over again. Look at the state of this. It's the Leave Means Leave rally in Bolton. Almost everywhere in this picture will be dead in 15 years' time, destroying the country for the youth of today in a spiteful death throw. Shame on them. This is why there should have never been a referendum. That is evil.
Why isn't that guy arrested for a thought crime of being hateful?
That is totally
hateful against old people. All right, and now I'm looking at that picture. Not every person in that room is going to be dead in 15 years' time. So now you've just advanced people's ages. It's ridiculous.
Oh, I know. It's so hateful. So let's hear them.
We can't let them dictate so long. We want to hold our own. We want to be able to control ourselves.
So you're not impressed with the checkers?
Waste of time. Complete rubbish.
I take it you're not a fan?
Not a fan of checkers. No.
Why not? What's so bad about it?
Nah. Too weak. Not tough enough.
Why?
Just not tough enough,
is it? What's so bad about checkers?
What's so good about it?
Well, no, I'm just saying.
You tell me what's good about it, and I'll tell you what's bad about it.
Okay, well, I assume you're a Leave voter.
I am definitely a Leave voter, and I'm proud of it.
Under checkers, well, you'd be very confusing place if you weren't, but if under checkers, you're leaving the single market, the customs union, the common fisheries policies, the common agricultural policy, but that's in checkers. So what's bad about checkers?
There's nothing bad about it. Well, there's a lot bad about it because it's not coming out properly, is it?
It's coming out all those things.
It's halfway in and halfway out.
Well, what's the thing? What's the thing that we're saying in that you want us to come out of on the checkers?
Vassal state.
No, but okay, fine, vassal state. But which?
We don't like being referred to as a state, a European state.
Okay, there are some things there that they were trying to really get her stuck there, but basically the EU would still have control over laws, and I don't know it all either, but I just know I read it. It's hard to bring it back up to memory, not my circus, but still I care for you guys.
Yeah.
Not my circus, not my monkey, but when I see these people here and the fact that people are saying, let's have a guess at the average age, I'll kick it off at 60. Let's have a guess at who is all doing the terrorism.
But hang on a second, though, because now we are back with the communistic...
Look, Britain's future.
Now we are back with the communistic,
whatever happened
hateful view of you know what?
People.
If
Younger
you are
people
old, you are not. You are less than human again. You don't have a right. You don't have a vote. You don't have a say.
It used to be that older people were respected for their knowledge. It used to be that if there was a room full of older people, you'd sit down and talk to them,
and you would learn from them.
Oh my gosh! All these older people are there. They have been through so much. They have been through devastation. They rebuilt their country after World War II. They were the children.
I have to tell you, this is
so evil.
I don't see this happening in the United States. Now, granted, we don't have the same kind of scenario happening, but if you were to talk bad about somebody from the quote-unquote greatest generation here in the United States, you're going to get smacked upside the head.
Was there anyone there under 60 and not white? Well, here's a young guy right here. I'm sure a lot of these people are under 60. You just aged them. It's really embarrassing.
But why is it okay to talk to be hateful to older people and to be mean about them, or to be mean to them and to talk nasty about them, but it is not okay to call out the religion that shall not be named for things that they are literally doing?
Look, this is evil. This is nice. What is it? I wish I was dead. If someone doesn't mention Dunkirk soon, I'm leaving. Is she dead? Am I dead? This is the mentality that people have
Unbelievable.
for older people in the UK.
Wow. Granted, we know it's not all of you. This is just a specific set of people, but these are the people that are supposedly fighting for staying.
I'm really sorry.
I wouldn't want those kinds of people. I'm sorry. We don't want your kind representing us in our country.
'Cause you're gonna be
the
dead.
irresponsible, the immature. No, I'm saying that I wouldn't want those people.
No, I wouldn't want those people representing me. If that's what way you're going to think about this, then I know dead on that you're wrong. That you are wrong.
So as soon as I hit a certain age, I no longer matter anymore.
Yeah, you have, the older you get, the less points you have as being human. So 16, 17, and 18-year-olds know way more about where the country should go. Know way more about the EU than people who actually lived.
The Bible says something about that, not to let a novice lead. Sean says, I think you're right, General. It is a circus. If we don't completely leave the EU, we will be the clowns.
That's really sad. Okay.
So we need to get to Poland.
Yeah, I think we'll just go ahead and go there. Fort Trump!
Fort Trump!
So I'm going to play for you this video.
You're going to pray for them?
I'm going to play for this video.
I said that I would very much like...
Wait, you might have to put the thing up there real quick.
Okay. I don't know where your badge is, General.
All right. Here's Trump and Poland's president holding a joint conference.
I said that I would very much like for us to set up a permanent American bases in Poland, which we would call Fort Trump, and I firmly believe that this is possible. I am convinced that such a decision lies both in the Polish interest as well as in the interest of the United States. Poland is an attractive country, and first and foremost, it's got a very important strategic location in Europe. And I'm convinced that for the interest of the United States, also pertaining to the security of the United States itself, the presence of the U.S. armed forces in our country is important also to protect American interests.
I think that this is hilarious. We do know that our Polish friends have long been wanting a Fort Trump.
They're not really going to call it Fort Trump,
Actually, there is nothing new about the Polish president's Duda's urging President Trump during a joint press conference on September 18th to deploy more American troops and military equipment in Poland, suggesting that the U.S. establish a permanent military base be named Fort Trump. According to
they really want to name it Fort Trump?
I don't know. The proposal outlines the clear and present need for a permanent U.S. armored division deployed in Poland, Poland's commitment to provide significant support that may reach 1.5 million to 2 billion by establishing joint military installations and provide for more flexible movement of U.S. forces. Poland has been pushing for a larger U.S. permanent presence for a long time. The suggestion of a base was made in late May by the Defense Ministry. The U.S. didn't take it too seriously until President Duda's visit to Washington and his talks with President Trump. It's a change of attitude that's truly new because this time the U.S. president said he was open to the idea on the condition that Poland pay, something it is obviously willing to do. Warsaw has already offered more than $2 billion to set up a base on Polish soil. Donald Trump promised that the offer was being taken very seriously. He said Washington is in discussions with numerous countries about paying for American military bases. In his words, we're looking at that more and more from the standpoint of defending really wealthy countries. This is the first time the issue has been raised during a summit and actually publicly approved by the U.S. administration at a time when President Trump is ordering a review of the costs of basing U.S. troops in Germany. Makes sense to move if it's, if we're not getting along with Germany.
Right.
I say move it, baby. He has complained about the expense of the American military.
No, that's so great.
American military presence in Germany and South Korea. The U.S. administration appreciates Poland's contributions of over 2.2% to NATO, its decision to purchase American Patriot air defense systems, and its staunch opposition to the Russian-European Nord Stream 2, the undersea gas pipeline. In a clearly pointed gesture, Moscow's expected reaction was not mentioned, but the presidents agreed that Russia was aggressive. Russia has acted aggressively, a U.S. president said at a news conference, adding, they respect force, they respect strength, as anyone does. Nor was NATO mentioned. So it says a full armored division is a huge force. Setting up one in Poland would mean a return to the darkest days of the Civil War. It would require reliable protection from air. Additional Air Force units and missile defense systems could be stationed in Poland and other countries, such as the Baltic states, which are also asking for more American military deployments on their soil. The foreign ministers of the Baltic states visited Washington in May, blah, blah, blah. So I don't know, but I have to say that I do know that Poland wants America there as kind of like a help, because they don't have a military themselves, and they a strong military, and they do want to make sure Russia is kept in check. And I guess I'm going to kind of just leave that up to you, because you can
Bleowa
look
says,
at the memes.
I recommend that Poland lead a consortium of Central/Eastern European states that share similar security concerns from the Baltic to the Black Sea.
So, one little thing here on Germany. In Germany, Merkel, she made a bad move. I don't know. We covered the that anti-Islamic terror or whatever parade, wherever that was at. What was that? I can't remember, in Germany. Chimps. And it was widely speculated that far-right people chased down migrants, and there was video of it. Angela Merkel, in a speech, said how denounced the people who were just marching for victims of migrant attacks. That's what it was. They were marching for victims of migrant attack against the invasion in their country, and she said these far-right people were so awful that they chased down migrants. Now, listen to what happened.
I love what Gary says. Gary says, don't worry about Russia. Worry about China.
Exactly. Bingo. So for nearly 2 weeks, Chancellor Angela Merkel tried to find a way to fire her domestic intelligence chief, because he came out, the domestic intelligence chief came out and said it did not happen. And she wanted to fire him. But it gets really good. I have to bring this to you.
Okay.
The man who publicly contradicted her and became the darling of the far right for questioning the authenticity of a video showing angry white men chasing an immigrant. But she couldn't fire him without risking the collapse of her fragile government. Hans-Georg Mason, the rebellious spy, has powerful friends, among them his immediate boss, Interior Minister Horst Seehofer. Now, you remember, they were butting before because he wanted to stop the illegal immigration. The leader of the Bavarian Conservatives and one of Miss Merkel's pricklier coalition partners. Instead of firing Mr. Mason, Miss Merkel had to allow Mr. Seehofer to promote him. Mr. Mason will get a pay raise of about 2,500 euros a month.
What?
You couldn't make it up. If the episode shows anything, analysts said in the aftermath, it is that Miss Merkel is growing more feeble, even as the far right and in Parliament and online and on the streets is getting stronger. The Chancellor's inability to act decisively has exposed the spectacular weakening of a leader who not long ago was seen as a key defender of the liberal order. That view was cemented in her decision in 2015 to welcome hundreds of thousands, millions of migrants. Merkel was an authority at home and abroad. She stood up to Trump, negotiated peace deals. Now she can't even fire the head of an agency, and in fact, he had to be given a promotion.
Wow.
Because he came out and said, no, this didn't happen. There's no proof of this video. Because we heard it go, I heard about that too as well.
You know what? There is justice in this world. Sometimes there really, really is justice in this world. I like what Casey Lakeman says. We oldies pay for everything and don't expect handouts like the younger.
That's true.
What are they going to do when us oldies are gone? They don't know how to support themselves or work through their problems and better their life. On Facebook, there were a couple of comments in the chat. So Jamie Schultz wants to know, wouldn't that be bad for us in a military strategic planning? Especially if the wall doesn't get built, that would leave us in a weak stage. My feeling, not a fact. Yeah, could. We'll just leave that. You guys can answer that question yourselves. Here comes this other puppy. Let's see. Giovanni says on Facebook, gotta show them, children. Kids respond to stimulation, i.e. British humor like the young ones. I don't know what that is at all. Got to teach young ones with propaganda of your own. Fight fire with water. Well said. So I'm going to assume that the young ones is not a show that you would want your kids watching. And you know what? Again, I'm going to go back to my real life things that I watched the Won't You Be My Neighbor documentary on Fred Rodgers, and he hated television. He hated it with a passion, and yet he was on television because he figured he needed to be able to give children what they weren't getting, which was a lesson, morality, how to process through life and current events as a child, how your brain was supposed to process that. And he hated all of the cartoons, and we see so much propaganda going into our youth that that is why we are seeing the results that we are seeing. Young people can't be raised on SpongeBob SquarePants and adult cartoons like King of the Hill or The Simpsons or whatever it is. Without it degrading their minds, demoralizing them, and causing them to grow up and remain infantile in their brains their entire life. So that's why we go back to Kirk Cameron did a documentary called Monumental, and he talked about the Matrix of Liberty, which is our forefathers monument in Plymouth, Massachusetts, and he breaks down the Matrix of Liberty. And I know we talk about this a lot, guys, but it's really, really important. Within that Matrix of Liberty is pretty much a roadmap for how to have a godly and successful nation. And it starts with family, and it starts in the home, and it starts with children. So Kirk Cameron gives us hope.
And it has the old people teaching.
And it has the old people teaching the younger people, and the old people are given respect.
When you have young people pointing to
Leah's
old
getting
people
out her guitar.
saying, I know more than you, your country is flipped.
Yes.
Your society has flipped.
Yes. She says that when you have young people coming out and saying to old people, I know more than you, then your country and your society has flipped. But there is hope. And that's why we always say make babies for your country. We want to talk to you guys about changing the generations to come. Because that's what the religion that shall not be named is doing. That's historically what people that have wanted to take over countries have always done. You go in, you occupy, and then you spread. So, Worth a Look says, yes, we need to break free ASAP.
I need to pick. So here's the thing.
You need to pick.
Under Christianity and under, Martin Luther King's thing says, young, old, Jew, Gentile, Protestant, Catholic, we all need to come together. And when you exclude, what I see happening is the reason I know that Brexit is from God and is the right way is I see older people welcoming the younger people.
Right.
It's a beautiful thing. And it's kind of like with the, we don't even know what to call the movement, the conservative, libertarian, truther movement in the United States, all across the world even. Whenever we see other people joining, when we see, the walk away movement, when we see gay people joining, black people joining, the Republicans in my opinion, are just Democrats. They're all Democrats.
Right.
We want a whole new party. And right now, what I see on the hashtag walk away is people saying, you know what? I've never voted for Republican in my life, but I'm voting all red now.
Right.
Because, not necessarily to vote for the establishment Republicans, because they're being rooted out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? What happened under the Tea Party, and I was listening, I think, to Levin say this, and it's so true. We had a Tea Party movement, and it really was just people. It was a grassroots movement.
Right.
And we had friends who were part of it, but they were demonized.
Mm-hmm.
They were they were called out to be freaks.
Right.
And it was a really strong movement. And under Obama, the IRS attacked these people. They literally, like a Stalin way, went after people's friends and family. We have a friend, Justin Bennick Thomas, who was on Greta Van Susteren. And he was sent the Tea Party in Cincinnati was sent a letter. What is your relationship with Justin Bennick Thomas? And it was absolutely insane the way these Stalinist Obama administration, the Obama administration was never held accountable for that.
Nope.
They literally targeted conservative
members.
Tea Party, just the Tea Party, because they knew that they had to squash the grassroots. So we are in the middle of a battle and a war.
Right.
Okay? And what's wonderful is that the more we come together, the more we beat them. Because Trump is going to sign an order, I hope, to get somebody to look at the antitrust issues of Google and break those companies up.
Yeah, we hope to bring that to you this week. I'm hoping there's going to be news.
Yeah. But we're going to realize, guys, that the fact that we're being censored, the fact that, they've allowed us to be on YouTube for all these years, the dissenting voice, just like in The Matrix.
Mm-hmm.
But then when we finally start to win, it's when they have to come and take us out.
That's when they freak out.
Okay? That's when they really want to fight and they want to kill you because they need us to shut up. But we're not going to shut up because we're going to keep telling the truth. Okay? And transgenders can be part of this movement. However, they have to be respectful of us when we say biologically men are different than women, just like Jordan Peterson gets.
Right.
Like, literally, you have crazy people freaking out, like going crazy what Jordan Peterson says. There are biological differences. We have animals. There's a biological difference between a male hog and a female hog. And when you castrate a male hog, there's a biological difference that happens then.
What cracks me up, though, is that most of these people are the staunch evolutionists, right? That believe that they are the ultimate of science, and everything in science comes down to fact, and there is no room for how you feel or what you think or anything outside of numbers on paper and what they can, you know what I mean? It cracks me up.
So I'm going to play this song because what we do see is unity in this movement, whatever it is. We see people from Spain and Poland and Hungary and the UK, and you got the Chile women putting little heartbeats on their babies. There's people all over the world. And we don't talk about it very much, but in not Ecuador, not Bolivia, Brazil. In Brazil, they're having a populist movement rising, and the populist candidate was almost killed, attacked, but he is leading in the polls. I guess he's coming back to life. So this is called "There Is a Place of Commanded Blessing." There is a place of commanded blessings, where brother in unity dwell, a place where anointing oil is flowing, and we live as one. You have called us to be a body. You have called us as friends. dividing walls, and we will be one. Okay, I want to sing this one now. I'm gonna get it. Sorry, I was just trying to intro there. That didn't work. We're just gonna go straight to the song. Forget it.
We did not practice this song.
We don't need to practice this song. The intro was just not.
Okay.
What wondrous love is this? Soul, oh my soul. You can do this. Come on, don't turn your head like that. You totally are just like blaming the
Because
room
you're
on me.
no, because you're trying to get me to lead it, and I can't.
I'm gonna get this. I thought
all I know is the one that we said.
What wondrous love is this? Oh my soul, oh my soul. What wondrous love is this? Oh my soul. What wondrous love is this that caused the Lord of bliss to bear the dreadful curse for my soul, to bear the dreadful curse for my soul. When I was sinking down, sinking down, sinking down. When I was sinking down, sinking down. When I was sinking down beneath God's righteous crown, Christ laid aside his crown for my soul. It's a little bit faster. Christ laid aside his curse for my soul. You know what? Let's start over. Let's just start over.
Okay.
I'm not gonna play the guitar. This is a really cool song. We're gonna start over.
It is.
Let's just be
The
in
guitar
the song.
was throwing me
It
off
was
a
throwing
little
me
bit.
off too. So let's
Okay.
just sing it.
What wondrous love is this, oh my soul, oh my soul. What? No,
you shouldn't. You went too low.
Well, you went really high.
Well, that's probably where it needs to be because it's a really.
All right, we can do it high.
What wondrous love is this, oh my soul, oh my soul. What wondrous love is this, oh my soul. What wondrous love is this that caused the Lord of bliss to bear the dreadful curse for my soul, to bear the dreadful curse for my soul. When I was sinking down, sinking down, sinking down. When I was sinking down, sinking down. When I was sinking down beneath God's righteous frown, Christ laid aside his crown for my soul, for my soul. Christ laid aside his crown for my soul. To God and to the Lamb I'll sing on, I'll sing on. To God and to the Lamb I'll sing on. To God and to the Lamb who is the great I am. While millions join the theme, I will sing, I will sing. While millions join the theme, I will sing. And when from death I'm free, I'll sing on, I'll sing on. And when from death I'm free, I'll sing on. And when from death I'm free, I'll sing and joyful be. And through eternity, I'll sing on, I'll sing on. And through eternity, I'll sing on. What wondrous love is this, oh my soul, oh my soul. What wondrous love is this, oh my soul. What wondrous love is this that caused the Lord of bliss to bear the dreadful curse for my soul. To bear the dreadful curse for my soul.
That's a really, really powerful, powerful song. I don't think we need to do anything else.
Okay.
We're at 2 hours.
Oh, wow.
St. Mark the Evangelist tells me that he may go live after us, but he's still debating, trying to make up his mind. I hope that you do. You absolutely should. Maia says, Mark, we need our class in UK English. During the last live stream that Mark did, it just kind of went off the rails. And comparing different things that
oh, that's fun,
are in the UK versus
oh, how fun,
the way we do things here and or the way we say things. So it was really, really fun. If you guys are not subscribed to St. Mark the Evangelist, do so now. I want to thank all of our moderators who were here today: Donna Terry, Britt Baza, Gary, Maia, Worth a Look. I'm gonna forget somebody, I know it. Kelly. Speaking of Kelly, Amber was here for most of the day. We don't get to see her very much. But Kelly, we are still praying for you and your family. Kelly suffered a huge loss this week in her little brother. So I want you guys to be praying for her and their family. That's why they didn't go live on Friday night. So thank you guys for being here. We had a blast, as we always do, even in spite of the puppies and everything else that we have going on. I would like to say that sometime this week we will be going live earlier than Friday, but that's always as the Lord leads. Just in case, we will be back on Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for a weekly roundup, and on Sunday again back here for what we do every Sunday, which I think is really unique to our show, is European and UK news. I don't think you're going to get that on a lot of other channels where they just kind of cover a little bit of everything. So, oh, and Sean and Tracy were here. That's right. You know, Sean, you're not forgettable. He left a comment earlier. Maia had showed up, and she said, and Maia, what did I miss? And Sean was like, oh, nothing. You know, Hillary got arrested. Obama was found in a Make America Great Again hat, and things. And that's really cruel, by the way, Sean. What else is cruel is the fact that now, like, I don't want to get anything done. I just want to find out what's happening in the Stephen Avery case, which is still ongoing. You're still fired, Sean. I actually signed up for Netflix, which I haven't been on there in. I did a 3-month thing just so that I could watch this because Sean's been telling me to watch it for so long. But anyway, I'm not sure that I even recommend it, only because it's just so addicting and there's not an ending yet to the story, which is unfortunate. All right, you guys, I'm going to sign off without Leah because she went out that door and I don't know what happened to her after that. I love you guys. God bless. Remember, it is not just a conspiracy theory if it's actually the truth. Like, comment, and subscribe to Mass Faith 3 and Resistance Chicks. Ring the bell. Hopefully you'll get notifications. I can't promise that because YouTube is YouTube. Thank you to our Facebook Live viewers. There were a lot of people there today. I don't know how we got through the mess today, but we did. I think that covers all that I have to say. I love you guys. I might do a Bible study this week. We'll see. I hope to. Let's put it that way. I hope to do a Bible study this week. I got to get the rest of these dogs outside, and we're still working today this weekend. So have a wonderful rest of your week. And for those of you that are celebrating the feast, Sukkot, the Feast of Tabernacles, I don't know what the proper greeting is, but I hope that is a wonderful and meaningful celebration for you guys this week. So, all right, you guys, God bless.
I was cold.